Acknowledge me.
Leveled by Marvin Constant, the redshirt freshman out of Tuscaloosa.
Oh, they go by now. Let him know he don't want to die. 65 yards, and the ball was thrown away from the line of scrimmage. Gerald Dixon.
Hey, you forgot to see my book. And you see proper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Tuesday night. We're ready to get things rolling here at the Bama Standard. Do me a few things. Do me a few favors. First, I want you to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're in the comments section, show us some love there. Let's get rowdy tonight. We got plenty to talk about. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section down below. Show us some love there. I'm sure there's a take you may agree with, probably disagree with. Either way, we want to hear it all. I'm your host, Justin Riley. And with me, as always, is the all-star crew with the headliner, the showstopper, the undefeated, undisputed king of comedy. He's everybody's cousin, but more importantly, he's the star of the show, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Brown.
What's up, fellas? I'm going to let you know right now. Steve Brown is here, but his voice is not. But I love being with my brother so much. I'm gonna stick it out. So,
is that Steve Brown? Or is that Tone Loc?
Man, Steve,
don't do it, Marvin. Don't do it.
You gotta get your tea going, man. You gotta get your honey and tea and lemon in your voice, man. You're a comedian. You know how to get your voice right. Get it back.
Right. I got you. Hey, man. And look, well, y'all do me a favor, though, before we go any farther. Y'all do not let Marvin take advantage of the situation. I'm not going to be talking much, so y'all promise me, Bo, Smoke, Justin, do not let
your back, man.
Man, you got on my boy last week about all that ice cream and whipped cream and saute cream. Oh yeah, we gonna get in that voice conversation.
Hey, Smoke, Smoke. That's why he's 62, about to get his tonsils taken out.
Oh, now he won't be serious.
Smoke, he ain't gonna be able to eat nothing ice cream for about 2 weeks.
What is it they say, Marvin? It's not fun when the rabbit has the gun.
Bang, bang.
You're going to be the oldest tonsillotomy patient ever. You're going to wake up in the recovery room beside elementary school children.
Oh, man.
Well, joining the star of the show, we got the 1999 All-SEC linebacker. And when Ric Flair said to be the man, woo, you got to beat the man. He's still that man and the lead instigator, Marvin Constant.
Hey, roll tide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we got another All-SEC defender in the house from 2002. He is part of Bill's Mafia as well as a player and a scout. He is one of the greatest minds in college football today. He's a part of 247 Sports, but more importantly, he's here with us, ladies and gentlemen, Gerald "Smoke" Dixon.
Fellas, what's happening, man? What's going on? I'm glad to see my big bro back on it. Bo in the house, man. What's up, baby?
What's up, baby? What's going on, baby?
What's up, man? What's up, man? You good?
Yeah.
Sing Funky Comedina real quick. Well, next to Tone Loc is a two-time national champion, two-time USFL champion.
Yes, sir.
Still one of the baddest men to ever tote the rock. Washington still has nightmares about him. Bo Scarbrough.
What's up, guys? What's up? Marvin. What's up with y'all guys, man?
Hey, man.
Good, family.
It seems like he the only one on here with empathy and sympathy for our brother. I appreciate you, bro.
He had his tonsils taken out in the first grade. He ain't got no sympathy for you. He had it done when you supposed to have it done. What you gonna do next? Go get some braces?
Let's get to the show, boy. We gonna let him live. We can hit him up on the phone and get out there.
Most
Let's
definitely.
get the people what they're looking for.
Well, you've been a busy man. I want to congratulate you first and foremost with your new job, your new position, influencing others. Before we jump on in, Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how you make a difference in this world and how you have a more powerful voice than Steve Brown.
It's just teaching like other people how to be a leader, and what it takes to be a leader and all that. And so that's mostly what I'm doing, is basically teaching people how to be a leader, how to lead in the correct way, but you can lead in different ways. So so that's basically what I overall do, is teach about 400 people how to be a leader.
Okay, that's what's up.
Man, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you, brother. I really am. I'm glad that they did not give somebody like Marvin that job. I'm proud of you.
Can I ask you a question, good brother Bo? Where are you doing this at?
It's out here in Dallas.
Okay, cool. Okay, good, man. You want to get it to, instead of 400 to 500? Is there any way that we can help you with that, the growth of your process?
It's just the company, how many people the company bring in, and that's what I got to deal with, take on with.
Man, either way, man, brother, proud of you.
I'd be happy to come in and speak.
Not this week. Long as you leave your pants on, yeah.
He got saved again, Bo. What you talking about?
Hey, Mook, we used to go to church every Sunday, and the same person always get up there at the altar call, and you got to get saved and get baptized every single week. Well, Brother Steve, we found you.
Yep. Hey, man, start the show, man. Start the show.
Man, I didn't know CeeLo's here. What's up, CeeLo?
No, it's Mark.
It drive me crazy.
They on you tonight, Steve.
Oh, he be killing us, though.
Exactly.
Maybe you should try some ice cream. Marvin, can you recommend any?
No. Oh, now he.
Hey, man, start the show.
All right, we'll get to it.
Start the show, man.
All right, let's talk about some things. We talked about leadership. Bo's in a leadership position. Whether there's a man that helped shape Bo into the leader he is right now, he's carrying on that legacy. And the man who was able to impart that into Bo just got elected into the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame class. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard and you're not paying attention, Nick Saban is the latest inductee, and we're going to celebrate him first tonight. Man, the GOAT has officially made it. Knew it was going to happen. We just didn't realize it was going to be this quick. They made the announcement this past week and caught him off guard, but man, what a surprise to find out. So we're going to talk about the man tonight. I'm going to lead it off. Well, let the man who played for him lead it off, and then we're going to go around the room talking about how this actually happened. We know about the national championships. We know about the SEC championships. We know about the countless entrants into the NFL, but we need to talk about what really went on behind the scenes, the tools that were used to shape the dynasty that we know. So, Bo, I'm going to start off with you. Coach Saban, we all say the phrase, is known for the process. How did he manage to get the team or reach the team in his special way to communicate that process and get them all to individually buy in? We hear the phrase a lot that he got 80-plus selfish holes to play together as one. How did he do that? First, tell me how he reached you, brother. How did he make it happen for Bo? How did he get Bo to buy in and ultimately get the team to buy in? Because he had to reinvent himself every year with every generation that came through.
I think it come in where when you see everyone else is already bought into the program and you see yourself stick out like a sore thumb, and it's like it's almost almost like you're questioning yourself, like, is football for me? Is I'm in a good? Like, he put you through that mode, and that's the mentality of being mentally tough, and I think that he got through us by being mentally tough, and once we became mentally tough, everything else just fell in line. The physicality, the effort, the toughness, and having pride. and especially when we follow his rules and his formula and the system and bought into the process, and we seen the reward that were coming from it. So that made us want to work even more harder, and especially the kind of coach that he was a hard-nosed coach, and especially your position the same as him. So you had no choice but to be that person, or you wasn't gonna fit in Alabama, and Alabama wasn't the place for you if you wasn't one of them guys that would to get cussed out and everything in the book and still go out there and being able to practice and play 100% with the coach fussing at you and stuff like that. And if you can go through that with Coach Saban, you can go through that with anybody, because I don't think that no one does it the worst as him. But he doesn't mean no harm about it. It's just him coaching you because he wants you to be better than what you already are, especially when you think that you're good. He lets you know that there's still a lot of work to be done before you become who you trying to become. And he also put us in a position to made us what made us a man. And I think all of that stuff is responsibilities, and a man is someone who handles their responsibilities, and that's something that he required into his system, and it was like it was automatic. And if you listen to him after practice or before the games, all of this stuff makes sense, and you buy into it, it'll work out for you, and you'll become the player that you want to be, and you'll be happy with the reward that comes with it.
Absolutely.
Man, you know what? You did that so well, man. I only got a couple of things to share because I didn't get coached by Coach Saban, but I had an opportunity to go a lot of his clinics, sit in with him a lot during the spring when he allowed young coaches like myself to come in and just be a part of that great dynasty that he had rolling over 17 plus years. But there's a couple of things that Coach Saban's not going to get credit for, but he was a trendsetter and one of the first college head coaches to put together a personnel department. And when I say by that, I mean this. A lot of schools were using recruiting as their personnel department. Coach Saban was one of the first ones that got a DPP in that building that was there to just construct their roster and put it together properly. That was one. The second thing that he needs to get credit for is creating an analyst role, senior analyst roles, having coaching rehab. A lot of former coaches that got fired, he had on staff as just analysts, Mike Loxley, Steve Sarkisian, that eventually in a couple of years got on board as full-time coaches and became good college coaches. And he was one of the first ones to do that. Now you see everyone now is having those off the field positions as senior analysts and this analyst. But Nick Saban was one of the first ones, and he did this back in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to even last year. So just the trendsetter and putting together a personnel department and having the know-how and having the and not using what most coaches have, that huge ego, as getting in other coaches in to help him build that program year in and year out and give him all the creative ideas from other head coaches coming in and helping him out as too. Culture rehab and that personnel department is what I think gave him the edge over most people. And that's why I saw that Bama train continuously roll and retool themselves and rebuild themselves year in and year out, because he was taking philosophies from other people coming in and using that towards building that train that people saw was the Bama standard.
Well, the thing about it, when you look at Coach Saban, you can honestly say he's the one individual who had the most impact on the game of college football in the history of college football. I don't think people truly give him credit for all that he has done. And looking at the transfer portal and NIL, you can't tell me that these things didn't come about as a way for people to say, how do we get other teams to be competitive with Alabama? Because Alabama was so competitive at that point. They were 3 deep with 5 stars at every position. So it wasn't until you seen the transfer portal and eventually NIL, once they start passing all the stuff, that talent dispersed from Alabama. You can't tell me that wasn't a plot or a ploy to make college football more competitive across the board. And he told them in the beginning, you're going to make us better, which he did do, when those things first happened, with the portal. But then you saw them add more stuff to it, in terms of NIL that, made that talent go other places. But again, all of that was done as a means to make college football more competitive. And why did they have to make it more competitive? Because he dominated at such a high level.
Steve Brown, you're the last to go on this particular subject. What you got, man? What makes him Hall of Fame? Of course, we already talked about the trophy cases, and Smokes brought great points about, just continuing his legacy through other coaches, building opportunities for people where before then they didn't have those opportunities. People were cast aside like Steve Sarkisian, been left for dead, but Coach Saban saw value in them and brought them back and rehabbed them. And now he's taken Texas to the semifinals back-to-back years. But talk to me, man, what makes him the GOAT, or what makes him Hall of Fame worthy?
Well, to me, there's no other coach that I've seen like him. I mean, you know when you see a Nick Saban team, you could tell the team is totally locked in coming out of the locker room. When Nick Saban was coaching, when you saw Alabama show up, the first thing in your mind is they're about to kick somebody's ass. They are locked in. You just don't see that anymore. And I it's so much more I can just say about it, but though that's just one of the things that really stick out to me. When you see a Nick Saban coach team, like with everything popping, it's hard to beat. And I think that he's responsible for a lot of the success of a lot of these young men who are in the NFL by giving them second and probably third chances behind the scenes. But I mean, the thing is, like I said, I've never seen a coach do what he's done. And that's keeping his players locked in. Like the old saying you were saying about the a-holes, he literally did that. He got everybody on one page, and that was really cool.
Yeah, without a doubt. And the coaches often have to make the hard decisions, and after they make up their mind to execute that, they then have to get their teams to buy in. Bo, you witnessed one of those hard decisions. Talk to me about the time that Coach Saban decided to sit Jalen Hurts in favor of Tua Tagovailoa in the national championship game. Nobody's ever done that before, certainly not for a freshman. When y'all heard the news, man, what was the overall feeling? How did y'all receive it? And how did y'all buy into that major change? Because Jalen was a hero, man. He was a guy that Alabama Nation embraced and had a pretty damn good record behind it. But Tua is ultimately what led us to that victory in that game, man. Talk to us about making that big decision and how y'all trusted that from Coach Saban.
It was just that we had faith in both of them. And, and it came down to that point that Coach Saban made the decision to put Tua in the game. And if we doesn't come back and win the game or whatever, then Tua reputation is not ruined. But if we were to start Tua that game and he lost the national championship, then the guy's reputation is pretty much ruined from the beginning before he even start the next season. So the whole plan was to, go into the game, but if we losing at halftime and, everybody wanted Tua to play, so Coach Saban made the decision to put Tua in the game. And then it turned out that, Tua came out and played a solid, well put together game and won us the championship. So that was the whole thing was about that. A lot of players wanted Tua to play. A lot of players wanted Jalen to play, but Coach Saban wasn't going to start Tua in that position to ruin his reputation. So that's why the switch was made at the halftime, because we were down X amount of points.
Team buy-in.
But the
Love
team,
that.
everybody had faith in Tua as well.
Completely different from what we see nowadays. The team concept can be questioned. But before we wrap this up, if each of you can kind of give your favorite moment that you kind of set aside that says, you know what, this is Hall of Fame for me when we talk about the GOAT. Talk to me, Smoke, what you got? And then we'll go to Marvin and Steve, and then Bo can close it out.
You know what? When one of the hardest decisions that I saw Coach Saban make was when he fired Lane Kiffin and put Coach Sarkisian in the position of leadership as offensive coordinator. And I thought that was instrumental in just holding everyone accountable. Not because it was an important game, and that was a national championship game, but there was no man or no one that was above the team. And if I was on the team, I would have looked at it differently. I would have said, you know what, regardless of whatever happens, I understand that Coach Saban has us, not just me or the quarterback position or the offense, in terms of looking at us fairly and holding each of us accountable. Just because of the most important game of the year, he's willing to do what he believed was the right thing to do to make sure that we all understand that if we don't all line up and go in the same direction as this Alabama train, you get kicked off and get ran over. And I thought that was one of the most critical moments in his tenure, and he bounced back from that and won another national championship after that. And if Marlo and Tony switch it, they win the national championship, and that's another one that's on his pedestal. But it could have easily been Lane coming in there and just calling the perfect game, but he was willing to just make that stance and do it his way, which I believe was the proper way for young people to understand. It's us, not you. It's we, not I.
Calculated genius. That's what the man is. Calculated genius. For me, the one moment that sticks out the most, it's Hall of Fame worthy. How could you not pick it? The onside kick against Clemson in the national championship game.
Yep. Yeah. Big time.
That call, most people would never have the balls to make at that point in the game. But the fact that he made it and it worked, and the look on his face, the smile after it happened.
Yeah.
And then you look over at Dabo. Dabo's losing his mind. And Coach Saban, you look back at him, he's having the time of his life. But again, calculated genius. The fact that a man has enough wherewithal and enough confidence to call that play, not only call it, but execute it. When they did, that was a pivotal moment, because without that play, Alabama doesn't win that game. Because Clemson has momentum. That play took the momentum completely away from Clemson, and you saw Alabama go on to dominate for the remainder of that game and win that game. But again, without that onside kick, it's highly unlikely that we would have got that same outcome. So, calculated genius. I love him, man. Greatest coach ever.
And you know what, Marvin, you took that play right out of my mouth. I was thinking about that, man. But the way he looked like, got your ass. That's how he was. Yeah. That's how he was looking. But I think mine is more personal. I was at a Saban camp, and I walked up, and he was going off. I mean, on coaches, kids. He didn't care. I mean, he was coaching them like they were grown, and he walked over to us, and he like, "Hey, man, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here." And I'm thinking like, I thought he was going to curse me out too. It is like, man, it's like this dude is human. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the ability for him to be such a gentleman and a cool guy when it's not about football, but when it's football time, he's like somebody else. He becomes somebody else. He's like a hero and a villain. Because honestly, when you see him on the field, you expect him like, oh man, he about to curse me out. Let me, but when he sees you, hey man, how you doing? Gave me a hug and everything, kissed me on my head. I'm like, what the man is going on? Oh yeah, man. So that was pretty cool to me to see how he can just turn it on and turn it off, man. I think he's a really good man.
Hey Steve, you know what? A lot of people won't know this, but Coach Saban has one of the best sense of humor.
Yeah.
If you're his guy.
It's
funny as heck.
Smoke, I've heard a lot of his jokes, and I think the reason people laugh at him is because they don't want to do extra laps or get the hell worked out of them. His jokes are awful, but people be laughing. I think one of the players like, yeah, we laugh because we don't want to get in trouble. But yeah,
He's a funny dude, man. You just got to get it.
I believe that.
I don't think you do.
I believe that.
So who is taller, you or Coach Saban, Steve?
I'm a little bit taller, and of course, Justin, I think I sent you the pictures where I was in his office and I put on his hat and everything.
Yeah,
and I stretched it out. And the next practice, it was hanging off his head. It was too big. Put on all those rings. It was cool, man. Yeah, so yeah.
Bo, you were his guy, man, without question. You got to see the side of Coach Saban that most people don't get to see. What's your best moment from him, man? It can be a game. It can be something personal. Talk to us about that relationship, brother. Y'all still talk to this day. Or if you want to tell a funny story. By the way, your story about you and Sid and Coach Saban running from the cops is still going viral.
Man, I have some. I don't know, man. Maybe like for me, it was that whatever Coach Saban say he gonna do, he gonna does it. Like he's saying, like whoever has the hot hand is gonna get the ball. And for me, the Washington game, it was like he wanted me to have the ball every single play, and and it's just something that was about that like made you put all your trust in Coach Saban, believe into what he was saying because of that one little saying that whoever has the hot hand, that's who get the ball. Whoever the best player, that's who's going to play. And that's something that kind of stuck with me, that the man is a man of his word.
Yeah.
And anytime you get a man of his words, man, you have no choice but to respect him.
Bo, was there a time that in every one of us that played, we go through it where you lose a little bit of confidence in yourself? That Coach Saban came over and gave you either one of his great a speech, a word of encouragement at that time when you were at his lowest, just to get you back up. Can you ever share that? You ever share that moment with us when you went through that? If you ever went through that, and he gave you that inspiring word to get you back up?
It was the Auburn game. Like when we played them at home, I had tore my MCL against LSU, so I had missed the Mississippi State and the Georgia Southern game, and he came to me at halftime of the Auburn game. I had got the ball one time. I got in like the last play of the first half. And he came to me, he was like, listen, we're about to ride you this second half, so you better get your ass ready. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm already ready. Like, I'm like, yes, sir, let's go, let's do it, And that little word that he said, it sparked a little excitement in me, like, hell yeah, come on, give me that motherfucker. And it was and it was on from there. Like I had 9 to 8 yards in the second half.
Right.
They gave me the ball on 3rd and 9 on our own 9-yard line. So they just showed how much trust that he had in me at the time. So yeah, that was one of the ones.
Dang, dude. Are you just going to speed past that whole part about you playing with a torn MCL? Did y'all hear that part? The man was still playing with a torn MCL, got him almost 100 yards on a bad leg in the second half because Saban made him run through a wall. That's GOAT stuff right there.
You know what, Justin, and I know the audience most of the time think that most football players, when they hear like MCL and like Marvin played on a mangled knee. I remember when Marvin came out there this spring after having totally reconstructed knee, and we all looked at him like, bro, like you can't even walk properly. But he was gutting it out, and it's just once you put that helmet on, and you look to the left, you look to the right of you, and you see everybody else that's just doing it. Like you're like, what else am I gonna do? And nobody wanted to be on the sideline with TJ going through rehab because rehab with Big T was worse than daggone practice.
Hey, let me just say this, Smoke. I would rather practice and get hit 90% of the time than to be on the sideline hurt with TJ and Coach Hockey. Man, you finna by the time practice end, man, you gonna be walking up out of there like
See, the problem was Hockey was always over there trying to prove something. Like, sir, you got nothing to prove here, okay? Just calm down. My God.
Hey, Marv, you remember when Coach when TJ used to have us riding the daggone bike and he used to have us holding the Gatorade jug over here calling Hold the World? I was like, Big TJ, like, what is this? I'm like, bro, I'm never sitting out of practice again. I'm going to go practice. Leave me alone. I don't care if it's whatever's torn or broken, I'm going to hop my way through this.
Bo missed the era. He missed the Steve Martin era.
Oh,
I had Steve Martin for one.
He was still there?
I had him for one semester.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow. So you know a little bit of it. Damn.
Oh, testing day sucked. When he used to look over there, Marvin used to bend sideways and look at you. Like, that rep didn't count. You ain't get
Oh, man, that's great stuff. But, yeah, congratulations to the GOAT. We're going to move forward to our next topic. But before we do that, we got some folks that help us pay the bills around here, and that's one Lamstone Company. If your home needs to look a whole lot better, nothing better than getting the finest rock, finest material in the world. They are locally owned in Aniana, Alabama. If you want them to fix up your place, go visit them today at realrockstone.com. We're very grateful that they sponsor the Bama Standard Network. All right, let's move on to what's going on now. Let's go ahead and say it, guys. Ryan Grubb is not coming to the University of Alabama. I know there's been strong rumors floating about, but we got confirmation from some people that I feel who know what they're talking about and said that there's not going to be any major staff changes. But I think we got a good staff in place that can help us win some games. I got full confidence in Kane Wommack and what he's doing for our defense. I've seen significant growth from game one to the final game. I've seen maturity. I've seen the young guys, the freshmen, step up and become real-time players. We saw what Bray Hubbard was able to do, completely changed the face of the back end of the defense. But a lot of folks aren't happy with Nick Sheridan. Well, let's talk about Nick Sheridan. Let's talk about some of the other coaches that are still on the staff. We have a changing of the guard. Jalen Milroe is moving on to the NFL. The offense dramatically takes a huge change. All of a sudden, we have a system that's probably going to resemble what Coach DeBoer had at Washington, but he wasn't able to bring that over here with Jalen just because of the skill set that he possessed. It didn't fit with what he had in mind. Well, now we have an opportunity to see that play out before us. And I think it may alleviate a lot of the problems that some of our fans are having with our current offensive coordinator. But I want to hear from you guys. How does Alabama win with this current staff? Smoke, you always shoot us pretty straight. I want to hear I want to hear what Alabama can do with these guys. Why we should feel a little bit better going into year two with some of the personnel we have. I know that you were pretty harsh in criticizing the wide receivers, but I think that we weren't able to see a full picture just because of the limitations we had this year. They weren't able to get the looks they needed, and the ball wasn't distributed the way we would have liked. So they're in front of us right now. We have a chance to finally grade them. But I'll let you have the mic.
Well, you know what? So let me grab my mic. So I wasn't criticizing. I was making constructive criticism of the lack of talent at the receiver position, which that doesn't have anything to do with the current people that's in place. Because what a lot of fans do is like you're trying to knock the staff that's in place right now about the talent that's currently there. They took on Nick Saban's team. This is not Kalen DeBoer's team. Now, this year's team is more of what they wanted to look like. But getting back to the question at hand, on the defensive side, the number one thing I need to see on the defensive side is just in-game adjustments, and that's on both sides, offense and defense. The ability to go out and whatever that you practiced against all week, the opposing offense doesn't show you that. Well, you got to go back now into your bag of tricks of just adjusting during the game, in-game adjustments, and also understanding your personnel and playing more towards your personnel. I think when you come in year one and you say, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is what I'm going to do. One of the things that Coach Saban is famous for is the coordinator coming in and adapting to the players, not players changing for the coordinator. Offensively, I think that, giving Nick Sheridan a second year at it might help him. I don't think that we need to continuously bring in a guy's name of Jalen Milroe that's not there anymore into the discussion. I think we need to constructively look at what Nick Sheridan did, good or bad. At times, I didn't think they had an identity of either are you going to run the ball downhill, it'd be an inside zone or outside zone team, or quarterback ran team. I didn't see where they were a vertical stretch team or horizontal stretch team or a formation, a motion-based team. I just saw a whole bunch of inconsistencies within the game planning from week to week. So hopefully we can see somewhat of an identity, and secondly, the ability to adjust within the game plan that you had going in. And I think once you find your identity and you know what you want to do, you can adjust along the way.
Well said. Marvin, how do we win with this staff? And how happy were you with the growth of the defense? And you don't have to necessarily limit your response to the defense, but I like to kind of start off there because I think a lot of fans, for the most part, were really happy with what they saw as the season closed out from that group. But talk to me, how do we win with this staff? What do you need to see? Does it resemble what Smoke just said, or do you have something a little bit different in mind?
I mean, the defense finished the season on a positive note. They made progress week over week, improvement week over week. So I think the biggest thing for me seeing progress moving forward is, can we get that pass rush established? I think that was the area we had the most deficiencies in is the pass rush. And we all know so goes the pass rush, so goes the secondary, because nobody can cover all day. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they address those deficiencies and, getting that pass rush up to par. Because again, once we get that under control, I think we'll be able to accurately judge how good or bad the defense truly is. But without the pass rush, it's hard to say how good or bad the unit is. We can only speak to what they did at that current juncture. Yeah. Which at the beginning of the season, in the middle of the season, but they did get better. So they showed improvement. So I'm looking forward to seeing them address that. And also I'm looking forward to seeing if they'll go out and they'll get some bigger guys to play in those A and B gaps, with the hopes that it'll take away that the middle of that offensive line, so that you give your backers that ability to get over the top. And then, that safety doesn't have to think so much about getting into the box to be that eighth defender to stop the run. But that starts with having, two studs at defensive tackle who can actually control that line of scrimmage, from B gap to B gap. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. On the offensive side of the ball, Nick Sheridan, he showed you time and time again that he struggles with establishing identity, as Smoke said, struggles with making the in-game adjustments. He struggles with out-scheming defensive coordinators. There wasn't any game where I can say it looked like he just truly came prepared and out-schemed the defensive coordinator. For me, if I'm DeBoer, what do? I'm going to go out and get me a pass game coordinator. Why? Because now that gives Sheridan more onus in the run game. So maybe he'll be more likely to run the ball when that's what he's responsible for. And then with that pass game coordinator, somebody who's a young, innovative mind who can scheme. Because again, as so goes your pass game, so goes your run game. Because if you can't take the top off of defense, or if they don't feel threatened, they're going to have 8-9 people in the box. So we need someone who can get our pass game to where it needs to be. And then maybe Sheridan will be more run heavy. And we all know, as you can run the ball, now you can start doing the play action pass to take the top off the defense. But it's a process. So I would definitely go out and get a pass game coordinator, whether he liked it or not.
Ooh, Very well said. You also put a nice softball on top of a tee for Bo. Bo, I know you don't like to talk so much about coaches, so we're going to talk about players. After all, their staff. And we got quite a staff in that backfield, but the thing is, we haven't really been allowed to see them. For whatever reason, Nick Sheridan hesitated in giving them the ball. The opportunities were there. Like you said earlier, it's about feeding the hot hand. Well, the hot hand would start going, and then his plate would be taken off the table. So I'm hoping that's going to change this season. Let's go ahead and talk about the running backs, Bo. Richard Young easily is the best presser of the line of scrimmage we have, but we never gave him the opportunity, not really. So let's talk about what we can do with this run game. What do you need to see? Of course, the obvious answer is more touches, of course, but talk to me also about the offensive line. How far off were we from being successful in terms of an offensive line? What tweaks would you make?
It was give or take. It was no consistency in every game. Coach Saban talked about consistency and playing the game within the game. I don't think that we did that as an offense this past season. We ever had like I said before, it seemed like that we was only ready to play when we came off a bye week. And then we come out with all this energy after a bye week. Then the game after that is it coming down the peak, and then the game after that we looking terrible. Then the game after that is even worse, and then we have a bye week, and then it's the same thing. So it was the inconsistency for me. So I don't think that disciplinary was fed enough around the building. I don't think people were players handling responsibility the way that they were supposed to enough.
Yeah.
I don't think that was fed into the locker room enough, and I don't think that the players really took responsibility of being real leaders. And when I say real leaders, don't only lead when we up and winning. Leaders lead when we down and out, and when the leaders would have stepped up the Oklahoma game and had everybody still ready to play. Not sitting down with their head down, looking crazy like they don't know what's going on. Leaders gonna lead no matter what the situation is, and that's why they are called leaders, because they can handle whatever is put in front of them to get their other players up when they're down. That's why you have leaders on the team, and I think that we lacked at that as well. And I think that they didn't understand the role of being a leader and what comes with that. It doesn't come when things are going great. It comes when things are not going our way. And that's when you're supposed to step in. That's when other players are looking for someone to step
Begging
in
for it.
to hear that voice of hope, saying that, okay, we have a chance. But if no one ever stepping up and saying that, hey man, look, come on, let's go. We still got a chance. Let's fight to the end. It's not gonna work out. And that's how we came back in so many games when we were playing, because us as leaders, we always lifted up our player, no matter what the situation was. And I didn't see much of that in the Alabama team this year. And maybe it was some guys' first time ever being a leader and having that responsibility. I don't know. But that is the players' team. It's not the coach's team. At the end of the day, the players run the team. And the players, you have to know how to run the team. And you have to get your players to buy in to you, and to get them to trust you to and what you're saying. The speeches that I gave before games, the players bought in, and they felt that. They felt what I was coming from, because I was talking about what we've been through as a team. Like, we don't do all this stuff, man, in the summertime just to come here in the end to lose. No. And we playing for the championship. I want to celebrate for 10 minutes. Like, you almost playing football 100 and some, almost 200 some days, and you only get 10 minutes to celebrate a trophy. Then everything go back to normal. But those 10 minutes mean a lot in people's life, that people don't understand, and
True.
fans don't understand what players go through. We're playing in the game. It's not like that we just go and put these plays in and go on the field and run them. No, we have to go through practice. We have to have
Layers.
meetings. We have to do everything. Like, it's not that we and when players get criticized for how they're playing, you don't know what's going. That player can be out there playing with an injury that you don't even know about, that he shouldn't even be on the field playing with. Like, I was playing with a messed up rib that every time it slipped out, my breathing slow up. So I had to suck my stomach back in there so it can pop back in place and I can still
Jeez.
play. Like, people didn't even know that.
Jeez.
And I'm still playing, and I get hit one time and I'm like, and I sit there
But
and I boom, it pop back in place, and and it was like it was
toughness.
it was my cartilage at the tip of my rib that
Mm.
kept slipping out. And man, when I tell you that is one of the painful things to go through, especially when you're breathing hard and you running, and then slip to that place where your breathing stop and you gotta suck your stomach in so it can slip back in place, man. Like, people don't understand what players go through as we playing the game, man. Like, players are not every. I'm gonna tell you this: no one is playing a football game 100% at 100%.
That is true.
No one is. If they say they're 100%, that mean they feel good to play a complete game. That doesn't mean it doesn't have anything nagging or hurting on them.
That means they're lying, Bo.
They're lying.
Exactly.
He's saying
And
they
that's
ain't
why
built.
you always hear people. That's why you always hear the players say, "I'm ready to go." They don't. You never hear players say, "I'm 100%." When they say, "What
But
percent?" I'm ready to go.
I'm ready. I'm good enough.
Smoke, I think he's
Right.
been reading your notes, man. Of course, he's got the Saban in you, but the things he just talked about has been something you've been preaching all year about finding those leaders, those guys who are going to step up at all times and properly discipline them. And you just didn't see that.
Well,
But
here's a couple of things that it's hard to do, and I don't think that we judge Coach DeBoer the same way that we judge Coach Saban year one, just because of what Coach Saban left and what Coach DeBoer is encountering. Coach Saban was a strict disciplinarian that did it one way for a long period of time. And when you do it so long, you create rules. And when you create rules, when the leader leaves and those rules go away, at some point you can cause some chaos. And some of the players are saying, you know what? The restraints are off of us. We don't have to do this anymore. But just like most players, we all need discipline.
mm-hmm.
And we need rule that we need to follow. And we need that coach when he walks into the room, instead of slouching down in your chair like this, you sitting up. You don't want to be the last one to come in. But once you have that disciplinarian leave you, then there's like a sigh of relief, like, oh, we don't have to do this anymore. And I think that's what was missing this year. And for most first-year head coaches, it's difficult to go in and lead because you don't know the players that are in the locker room. And it takes almost a full calendar year to truly understand who they are. And that's why whenever you go on a new staff, at some point it's okay to leave some of those staff members on that current staff. That can help alleviate the stress of understanding what those players are. So it can help you year one. And year two, you can move on from those guys and bring in the guys that you need to bring in. Go ahead. Mark.
Yeah, you need help like that because it's pivotal. Because I'll give you a prime example. When they fired Coach Dubose and they bring in Dennis Franchione, listen, I love this guy, but my God, you're talking about an era among eras. When they came in and they decided that they're going to build their offense around Theo Sanders, you should have had somebody left here to tell you, sir, that is a horrible play.
We all looking like, bro, we going over. And there's no knock on my brother Pepe Le Pew, a.k.a. No knock. Great athlete. But we're like, who? Come again.
You finna do what?
Huh? and it was just really height, weight room strength and conditioning program, like evaluation. Like we ain't step on no pads yet. We're like, man, they trip. We're like Marvin. They playing. They can't.
So had he had a coach that had remained unstaffed, they could have told him, sir, that's probably the worst thing you can damn do.
Oh, Coach Fran.
But yeah, and Coach Fran's the best coach I ever played for. Head coach, period. Remarkable head coach. Well, everything that you want out of a head coach got with the lack of the ability to communicate to young people.
Smoke, I got a question for you.
Shoot it, buddy.
Who was your best head coach in the NFL that you played for?
Best head coach that I played for. You know what? I don't believe I had a truly good head coach, but if I had to say one, God, dog, Greg Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, Greg. Just because structure, discipline, and you would run to the wall for him.
Gotcha.
Because Mariucci Mooch wasn't. Mooch was Mooch. March was whatever. Malarkey quit on us. And Greg Williams, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
right,
if I had to take one coach, I would say Coach Fran. Coach Fran's my guy. I hated him as a player. When I left, loved him.
We're gonna dive into that in a show. We want to hear about that, Smoke. But before we go any further, gotta give some love to another sponsor of ours, Title Towel. Listen, your game day is never complete, and look, Bama basketball is going on right now. So what we need to do is support the Tide by getting your very own Title Towel. Go to www.whitwillsports.com today. Enter the promo code STANDARD. Get a nice discount courtesy of your favorite network, the Bama Standard Network. All right, Smoke, you're one of the best evaluators of talent. Then I'll let you guys touch on this. Fans, we think we know what we want, right? We're right at 95% of the time. We know more than the coaches. There's a lot of us who are begging for Keelon Russell to start day one. Now, he's a guy that you're very impressed with. You spoke about in the offseason leading up to his commitment, what he can do already. Bo, you saw the man live and in color. So I'll let you talk about him a little bit too. But why should we not?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Why should we not rush this young man to take over the reins so quickly? How important is it that we make him wait a little bit? I know wait is the word we don't like these days, right? But there's still some value in that. How important it is for Keelon Russell's development that he might not be rushed into this right away. Of course, he may be a phenom. He may be the next to a Tagovailoa who already has it together right now, but that's a unicorn. What's your take on this? And then we'll go to Marvin since he's excited. And then Bo was there witnessing, and we're gonna let Bo finish this up.
So Justin, do you want me to remove the physical attributes and just go into the quarterback development aspect of it?
Yes.
All right. Because we know what he is already as an athlete. There's a couple of things that I always look at when you're talking about a quarterback, the most important position that you don't want to create doubt. And when you're a young guy coming in and you're coming off a season which everyone is up in arms because it's Alabama and expectations are unrealistic, you don't want to go in and crown him king, number one quarterback. Just because if he slips, stumbles a little bit, that can become now a fall. But we have to understand that we're in an era where he has to play this year. And I'm one of the understanding of I'm going to create a package for him that he's going to play every single game until he proves to me that he's not ready to play. So going into it, yes, he's going to play. Can he start? I would say no, just because you don't really have the resources right now at Alabama in terms of players to go in and say he's going to win games with players around him. And I think the way that we view Tua Tagovailoa is, yes, he was a phenom, but Tua Tagovailoa had first rounders, NFL players that was littered around him. Backups upon backups for NFL starters and first rounders. And the guy that he threw the winning touchdown to was a Heisman Trophy winner. the room and your team does not have that yet. So there's no reason to throw this young talent out on the field and say, prove it to us right now, because he does not necessarily have to. So to make this story go short and give everybody else some time to speak on it, I would say create a package, get him to game number 4 to see where he's at right now in his quarterback development. And if he's ready to go, you keep on pressing and increase his workload week in and week out. If you aren't 100% that Ty Simpson is the guy, and go with the tandem role. And once you feel like he can take over, go ahead and give it to him. Because if you don't play him, you're one. He's hitting the transfer portal. That's just how it is right now. Go ahead.
Right.
Is he an early enrollee?
Yes,
Yep.
he is. He's there.
He is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he has time. That's what I'm saying. He has
does.
time.
Yeah,
And
he has time.
you as a coach have time to figure out how much can he learn, how much can he retain, and how much can he apply. And if all of those aren't all hitting at the same rate, you got to say we have to carefully get him acclimated to college and college football and take our time with this. If they believe that he is the guy, which I do believe his skill set says yes.
And how fast can he pick it up?
Correct.
Well, here's the thing about it, though. I wouldn't go into it saying yay or nay either way. I will go into it talking to this young man, telling him, hey, we're going to do what's best for you and what's best for the team. Whatever we see that is based upon the output. The output has to dictate what happens. Because here's the thing. The last thing you want to do is put a young kid out there in a situation he's not physically or mentally prepared for. Because if he's not mentally prepared to deal with adversity, listen, Alabama's the wrong place to be if you're not mentally prepared for it. So, and you got to understand something. I played middle linebacker, and I think about how much information I had to process, the play calls, learning playbooks every week. And I know for a quarterback, it's probably 5 times worse. I couldn't imagine putting that young man under that type of pressure until he's ready for it, mentally and physically. So I would say I would definitely leave it as we're going to do what's best for you and what's best for the team option, opposed to saying, hey, we got to play this guy now. We got to play him early. I would just say, hey, man, we're going to let the output dictate what's happening. Because, again, putting someone in that level of pressure is not easy for 99% of the population on this planet.
Marvin, the only thing that I would say, and I'm not going to be like the era that you're talking about yesteryear, them kids aren't hearing that right now. And we'd all want to say, just like Bo and you and I had to sit back and work our way to becoming a player. If you don't present that you're going to play this young man at some point, you don't have to play him at the rate of starter, but create a package that he can understand within your offense and give him an opportunity to go out there and play. Marvin, I've seen it. You've seen it. He's out of it. He's leaving.
I 100% agree with you. But the thing about it, at some point, someone has to say, hey, let's look at all these NFL rookie quarterbacks who started year one, how their careers went to trash.
Marvin, they doing this.
I know that's what they're doing. But I'm just saying at some point, someone has to step up and say, hey, we got to start making sure these kids are truly prepared for this before we throw them into the fire. Because that ain't an easy fire. And like I know, Smoke, all it's going to take is for him one time to miss a blitz and not check to that hot read, and somebody off that backside coming and destroy his ass. And that whole career that you dreamed about, it ain't going to go the way you wanted to go, because now it's in the toilet. It takes one small mistake. That's simple. But until you're prepared to do that, man, you got to protect these kids. And I know that's easier said than done.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bo.
All right, Bo, let me hear from you. You kind of started the conversation a lot earlier when you were talking about just the risk involved with Coach Saban playing Tua. Same thing applies to here. And yes, he had a lot of NFL talent around him, but he also had it right here too.
Yeah. Okay,
so speak on this, man.
I like Smoke said, we in that position of we don't know who's gonna be the starting quarterback. We don't know who. And by me seeing Keelon Russell play 4 times this year, I think that he had that's why I asked, was he coming in early? I think that he had the ability to start. And just by watching him a couple weeks ago, let me tell you how it went. The other team got the ball first, came down, scored. Second, they come back, get an onside kick, score. Keelon Russell gonna get the ball. They giving it to I forgot the little kid that going to Oregon.
Ja'Cory
Moore.
Ja'Cory Moore. They give it to Ja'Cory Moore about 5 times in a row. He fumbling the ball. Other team get the ball back. Kick a field goal. They up 15-0. Keelon, I'm watching Keelon Russell. This guy keep his composure and bring the team all the way back from 17-0.
Mm-hmm.
And they only lost by 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
And they only lost by 3 points because of a tight end was wide open 3 times and missed the ball 3 times.
You dropped the ball?
Dropped the ball. And another time, I thought that they should have kicked the field goal, but they went for 2 and didn't get it.
Right.
Because they got to stop and came right back and scored.
Right.
So like, dang, they shouldn't have did that. That would put them down those couple points because they came back out and got a stop on the team again. And then they came and scored again.
So, Bo, here's what I would ask you, Bo. I'm sorry, Justin, you want to say something?
Go ahead.
You played on, Justin brought up a great point earlier. You played on a team that had Jalen Hurts, and Tua Tagovailoa. Tua being a young guy, Jalen having the ear and the true leadership of that team. And Jalen only lost 1 game, I believe, going into that game. If he lost any starter, you got it right. Didn't lose any as a starter. So Ty's been there for what is now Ty's 3rd year, and he's built on the rapport with some of those receivers because those receivers love quarterback that can throw. And being the leader of that team and going in and having a new guy come in, Marvin, you and I both know we look at a freshman coming in like, man, buddy ain't even graced the walls of the weight room. We understand the true talent. But even like when we came in that 99 class and it was Salim, myself, AC, Dante, Ellington, it took us some time for you guys to even trust, even wanting to hang out and like invite us to places. And you guys were great teammates. But to me, it's so tough in nowadays that these kids have so many other things going on that I don't know if they can build that camaraderie as early as they need to become that quote-unquote leader at the quarterback position.
Smoke, that's a valid point. And I'll say this generation is different. I was talking to my son, this was probably a year and a half ago. And he's talking about, yeah, that's my friend and that's my IRL friend. I'm looking like, the hell is the IRL friend? They work for the IRS? I'm so damn confused. And he's talking about in real life. Said, what?
Is it a fake one?
Like, well, I have these virtual friends because online and but this generation needs to spend more time bonding. That is the biggest issue with this generation and teams. We bonded. We didn't have all the distractions. So all we had was each other. That's why we spent so much time together.
Right.
This generation has so many distractions, so much money. It's just hard for them to bond because, again, they all got everything that they need already.
And Marvin, and that's why the concept of team building, like you have to remove that. You're just trying to build that team for that year right now, if that makes any sense. So what Coach Saban and what Kirby Smart created in terms of programs, got to throw that out the window. The expectation of the Alabama and the Standard, throw that out the window. You have to create and structure the best 6-month program that you can possibly get, which is like a pickup team.
You know what it is?
Go ahead.
You know what it is, don't you? It's just like the NFL model now. You have to go out and find pieces that work with your pieces because you are only going to have them for a year, maybe 2. And that's your window to win with that group. So you have to find those pieces that are not only complementary on the field, but off the field. And with kids at that young of age, that is the hardest thing to know, what they're like mentally off the damn field. God.
Because you really don't have the tools to do that. And we sound old, but we have to understand that we're not in our generation, we're in their generation. So we have to adapt and evolve. And it's not that they have virtual friends or real life friends. They have more access to information that we did not. And they have way more things to do. Yeah, once we finished with class, like we came home and we looked outside and like, hey, what are we gonna do? You either say, hey, we're gonna play some music, get on the grill, play stickball, or go in the room and play either Madden. We're old enough to say Bond. Or, yeah,
that's true.
Play dominoes or spades, but all of that, we're in a room together. A bunch of us either piled up in that room that was supposed to be our study room that we created into our game room, our hangout room, and we were just there shooting the crap. And we looked around like, dang, it's 10 o'clock. Got to go to sleep or figure out what's the next move. But that's what we did. These kids don't have to do that.
That's why I said they have everything they need already. So it's like they don't need to spend time.
So they're not really a team.
No.
They're just a bunch of independent contractors that are out there working for the common goal of creating more revenue for themselves, creating more followers, likes, create more opportunities financially for themselves,
building their brand.
We were thinking about, man, we got practice tomorrow. We got 18 periods. Mook, how we gonna get through this? Well, Smoke, listen, bro. After 9:07, we got one-on-ones. After one-on-ones, we got good on good. And we're thinking about practice. Forget school. We're thinking about how we gonna get through this practice tomorrow. And Marv and Boogie over there talking records. He's like, Boogie, I'm gonna take your head off. Freddie and AC chiming to him like, I can't wait to one-on-one. So we're always in the process of building our team and getting each other better because we didn't have anything else to do.
I think that the same thing that will happen with us. We will all be at the back of Brown. Like you just knew to go to the back of Brown. Like all the players out there, they will be grilling and snowball fight. Having a party. Got the music going in the car. Got everybody. That was our party right there. That was our hangout spot. We got the cab right here, our dorm right here, study hall building right here. And like you said, we
and everybody coming before you know it, Bo. Like we started so many block parties. Just Marvin opened up the was it green? Was it green or was it more like a teal? What color
green,
was it?
Baby.
Green Eclipse with that. Well, how many 12s do you have in it?
1 but 3.
What?
I know he ain't had no more than 3 in there.
Yeah, hey, Bo, listen to me now. That thing was banging, wanging.
What? I bet it was. I bet it had the whole building shaking.
And then him and Arisa have a battle, and before you know it, like we blocked off the Highlands on one side, so it's one way in and one way out because we blocked it off and allowed.
Hold on, time out. Yes, we blocked it off, but how did we block it off? Because we stole all the security barricades and
see, now you're telling on yourself. I don't know how we blocked it off.
So we used to go out there, set up our own little setup where
because we
looking for them cones and barricades. They never knew where we hid them at.
And here's a crazy thing. We created our own little silo, but we didn't even know that we're creating because we allowed who we wanted to allow in. And if the trouble was coming, we say, hey, bro, y'all ain't coming in here.
Exactly.
It's a student-only party. Y'all, I mean, if you ain't related to Marvin, one of his cousins is local, y'all ain't coming in. Nobody can vouch for you. And that's how we created our own little private and created security for ourselves because we knew everybody was in there. Wasn't no knucklehead. And we had a good time.
And that's what they need to get back to, things like that, to truly build that team building. Because without trust, that team is not going to go far. You have to trust your teammates. I got to know that Smoke Ass is going to be in that third, sitting out there in case that running back hit that flat, so I can run my blitz. I ain't got to worry about covering his back as he crossed my face to run to the – but that's trust. Right. If I don't trust Smoke going to be sitting in that third, in that flat out there, I'm gonna take the back off my blitz, and when I could have sacked the quarterback and got us off the field, but because I didn't trust him. See, but that's why you trust. It's almost like with safeties and cornerbacks when they trust that they got that safety over the top and they put it underneath the receiver, so now I can gamble and I can go for the picks. I know I got help over the top. But if you don't trust him, you're just gonna tackle the man because you didn't trust that you could have went for the pick. But that goes back to those relationships.
And that go back to Marvin. Hanging out together behind Brian.
Yep. Yeah. Creating a meal with everybody adding in $2 to go down to daggone Walmart. and before you know, it's like, Brian.
Feeding the 5,000. Huh?
You gotta have a pool party.
Oh, now hold on, time out. I'm gonna tell y'all one quick funny story before we go.
Good.
So back when we played, life was tough. It was pre-NIL. And when the season was over,
that daggone tough, Marvin. Stop making
what about that?
For some of us, it was that tough. And when the season was over, so the had ended, right? So, man, me, Shantu Ray, and a few more of my team, man, we were starving one day, bro. We ain't had nothing. So Shantu had some hot dogs in his refrigerator, in his freezer. I think I had a couple pieces of chicken or so. It was piecemeal. We ain't had no money to go buy no charcoal, no nothing. While we back there behind the Highlands picking up pine sticks from pine trees, man, we done lit a whole pine tree fire in that grill. We grilled with straight pine, baby. We was probably eating all kind of toxins off that pine. That's what we did, what we had to do as a unit, though.
Right.
Marvin,
so that's why whenever one of my when you or one of my guys called and say, "Hey man, I'm jammed up," I know what it is because we've been through those times that it was tough, difficult, but guess what? We figured out how to get through it. If it was a fish fry and Big Ray sticking his daggone hand in the hot grease to pull out that daggone fish, I've never seen nothing like it, but we had a good time.
Now I'm thinking, is there toxins in pine tree sap?
Hey, whatever you got, you got
it. Marvin, if you needed more food, why didn't you use that fish that you put in the air conditioning vent of Terry Jones Jr.'s apartment?
Because that was summertime. When it's January and February, you can't go fishing. It's too cold for that. So we had to use what we had at the time. And we didn't have
because it was in the vent. It was in the vent.
Smoke. Hey, Smoke.
Yeah.
We thought them the $125 a month we were getting from the school was some.
What?
That 125 will be gone before we came on now.
See, y'all got 125. We were getting 100.
So wait a minute, how are you in the negative on your at card?
$25 extra dollars. Then what they gonna do? Buy you a pack of chicken?
Your at card was in the negative, wasn't it, Bo?
Huh?
It said your at card was in the negative, wasn't it? Before you got.
I tell you this though.
I told you, listen, that 125, it was spent before it got on now. I had it in my head, what I'm finna do with these 125. It's already gone. Soon as it boom, next day, zero.
I will tell you this though. They would put that money on our action cards that first week of that semester. You know, you can order dominoes and all these other things. By week 2, Ray Marshall and Mariko Porter's card was on 0. And then they wonder why Big T got them up there at 5 a.m. running sprints because they overweight because you just spent damn $300 on pizza in a week.
Hey, you know what, though, Move? To give to those guys credit, Ray Marshall and Fat Mac were two of the most giving teammates like I've ever had. And they weren't just ordering pizza for themselves. They was like, Ray's biggest word, I'm finna set this thing out. And you know, when Big Ray had money or the at card was live, bro, it didn't matter. He was feeding everybody all the time, every time.
But what does that go back to?
At card slipped out, man, Big Ray, they go to at card, bro. Get whatever you need.
But that goes back to team bonding and having those relationships. And that's what they got to get back to. Because without those relationships, they won't have that trust so that they can actually perform at the highest level possible.
Agreed. 1,000%.
Great stuff, fellas.
Good times, man. You know how crazy it is, Justin? I know you want to close the show out. How Marvin and I could play in the 90s. Bo, you was what? The 2010s. Let's just say 2010s. on through.
Yeah.
Your last year was what, 16 or 15?
17.
17. Like, we 20-something, close to 20 years apart, but we're telling the same story just because we weren't in the era of selfishness.
Right.
The ones that got the disease of me, we're actually we and us. And how are we going to get to this? How are we going to get to the CCs? Whose car are we going to jump into? How are we going to get to class? Who's going to give us a ride? Like, it wasn't one individual running off and saying, like, man, I got to get the workout. I knew that if I ain't bang on Marvin door, bang, 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 bro, I'm out. Wake them up. You know, it's just the way that we were built a little bit different than the independent contractors that are playing nowadays. And I ain't saying all, but majority of them are like that.
Yeah, you can't leave your roommate in no sleep, man.
Man, bro, I'm gonna have your head. I'm gonna have your head. I'm looking at you show, and here's one of the things that TJ taught us. If you showed up to workouts on time and your roommate was late, yeah, both of y'all getting it. Because he's gonna look and say, you didn't wake him up. You better say, hey, TJ, he wasn't even. And if you're gonna rat on him, say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just run with him, Big T. Because if he wasn't in the room when he was supposed to, you're supposed to get him up.
Guess what my roommate was? My roommate was Ruben.
Oh, damn.
One of the harder person to wake up, man. You can shoot a gun by his ear. He ain't gonna do nothing but turn over.
Did he have a Newport in his mouth when he woke up?
I got to go in there like, whoo, shake him up like something going, whoa. He get like, come on, bro, we gotta go to workout. Let go.
but guess what though, bro? You did that. You didn't have to, but that's what you do.
Yeah,
you do.
Man, that's good stuff.
I could have left him in there, and but now
well, man,
they're
my
my teammate. You know what I'm saying? Because I know if I'm always clear, I'm gonna want him to do the same thing for me. So yeah, I'm gonna knock the door down and get you up.
Kick it in.
One time I had to, you know how you turn around and kick a door? That's how I was kicking the door. Boom. The whole time he ain't even in there. I said, look at that.
All right, real quick. Before we close up, we got one of our audience members got a question. Ephraim, question: how effective is the team leadership in today's college football? When you're done, we'll give our socials and then we'll close up shop. Start me out, Marvin. And then
I mean, you always gonna have captains who are supposed to lead, but again, if you're not spending time with people to where you have meaningful relationships with them, he just has a C on his jersey. I mean, he can't really tell me then because I don't know you.
Right.
You don't spend no time with me. We don't do nothing together. I see you for these 2-3 hours a day. We up here on the field, and once we leave, we go our separate ways. So who are you to tell me anything? So just relationships.
Well, you know what? I think it's not difficult, but it's put more on the coaches and support staff to create, and what Bo's doing right now, leadership classes and put the young people in leadership situations. And you have to create now team bonding experiences. Like, we didn't have team bonding experiences, but nowadays you have to force the issue and create the issues. Because if you don't, once the workout is done, everyone goes their separate ways.
Smoke, we did have team building exercise. It was every day we woke up.
but it was
what we gonna do today?
But Marv, what I'm saying is the coaches have to organize it now.
Right.
Where we're going paintballing, or we're going to the racquetball court, or we're going to play dodgeball. You didn't have to organize with us. We just flat out say, hey, listen, we playing stickball. Yeah. Come outside and everybody play stickball.
Yeah. Oh, we finna go to the bowling now. It's
it.
We finna bowl.
Or you gonna go get the 25-cent wings at Bumhouse's on after workouts during the summertime.
Yeah.
That was it. You know what I mean? But I mean, we created that organically. Now you have to create that within staff and the head coach and support staff and the player development coordinator got to do that. Go ahead, Bo.
I think that you just got to get players that really care about the team and the school. You got to get somebody who really love football and who really, really care about winning and losing. If you don't have those type of leaders today, like Marvin said, they just win the seat because of people who they voted for.
Right.
Like they said, who are you? Like how you gonna tell me what to do? I don't even see you, dude.
I don't even see you.
Get out of here. Like I don't see you at practice. What's your middle name, man? I don't even know what you like to do. You know.
And with all those personalities and those alphas, if you don't have those time spent, nobody's gonna respect anybody because everybody feel like they're the biggest, baddest damn dog in the yard. And so all it does is breed unnecessary competition when you should be working together. But that comes with time.
And sometimes you're gonna have to, Mook. You know, sometimes you're gonna have to knuckle up with some of them dogs. Yeah. When we out there, everybody out there in the yard barking, and you want to say you tough. Hey, what's happening? And you either get the boxing gloves or you go a little bare knuckle mini. If I catch you, I catch you, and we dap each other up, and it's love.
Hey man, listen, every Iditarod team has a lead dog on that sled. There's not just 12 dogs pulling. There's 12 alpha dogs, but there's one that stands above the rest, and he's asserted that dominance, and that's why the team operates the way it does.
Right, man. I think Reggie was one of the best leaders. I'm not saying he was the best. I'm saying I say one of them because when we were doing fourth quarter, I think it was like that time where you going down. You know,
question yourself.
Yeah, you going down. You're like, hey. So Reggie turned around and like, man, y'all, come on, man. I'm hurt too, man. Y'all think I ain't hurt? I'm hurt too. We in it together, man. Let's go. And that gave me energy. Like, man, fuck this shit, man. Reggie hurt, I'm hurt, and Reggie hurt, and I can and do it. I can do it. You feel what I'm saying?
That's what's
we
missing.
came from the same place. If he hurt and he can still run, I'm hurt. I can still run. You know,
vulnerability.
And that's how it just out. Like, yeah, this what I want to be. Somebody like me and Ryan Anderson had some conversation one time, like doing some running and like the trainer, they obligated to take me out at a certain amount of running. And Ryan like, nah, you ain't never wrong with you getting out, man. We ain't even got that. So he kind of tricked me. You know what I'm saying? So
well, you got to play psychology.
So I'm like, man, I'm supposed to be over there because, you know, I'm obligated because I got a sick cell trait. So I got to get out. But, you know what I'm saying? As me, I'm supposed to be out. But me and Ryan running and arguing at the same time. But before you know it, he said, look at you. We done did everything. You still out here running. I said, damn, bro, you sure right, bro.
Leader.
That right there is the difference. Leader. I got one question from Marvin, then we'll close up. Sleet J. Marvin, do you plan on spending some time with Deontay Lawson this year on his leadership skills in his last year at Alabama?
He don't need me. I'm sure he has more than enough people in his ear talking to him, but hey, if the young fella wanted to have some conversations, I'd be more than happy to because, man, that's not an easy position to play at all, man. And again, when you got to understand something, when you have defensive backs who want to go for interceptions because they're trying to get their stats up, and that's all they care about. You got defensive linemen who all they care about are sacks, and they're going to be out here doing X, Y, Z. So when you got all these people all for self, how do you get them all to come together collectively to do the job that needs to be done? It's not easy. And I was fortunate that, you know, in 99, I led the number 2 defense in the country. That ain't easy to do at all. To get everybody on the same page, especially with that damn Kenny Smith. When I tell you, that was a job within itself. Because, you know, I always had to account for what Kenny was going to be doing to make sure that everybody else was right.
Reggie Miles.
Kenny was never wrong. Let him tell it.
Reggie Miles.
Got to. The cornerback who I said likes to go for the interceptions instead of doing what he's supposed to. So again, understanding, okay, I know he finna do this. I know he gonna do this. So how do I make everybody else right so that this doesn't fall apart? And I'm thankful, you know, early enough in that season where Coach Johnson stayed on me, but by midway through the season, he gave me the freedom and the leeway to call what I felt, you know, needed to be called in the moment. And it worked out well for us. But again, that comes with spending time with your teammates, building those relationships to know, I know exactly what he gonna do. I know what he gonna do. So let me call what I know that's gonna work, given what I'm looking at on that offense. But that comes with time.
And one of the crazy things, Reggie Miles and Kenny Smith are two of the most talented players that I've ever encountered in my entire athletic career. But Marvin, you know what? One of the things that Steve Brown said last week that really struck me, and I believe we need to do more of, but Coach DeBoer and that staff need to allow a little bit more of it, is allow us to come back around, especially during A-Day weekend. Because the knowledge that we gained from all the older guys, sci-fis that came back and spoke like life and just career path into us and just told us how they came over their difficulties in Tuscaloosa, or just like you said, the position of playing linebacker, just spending 5 or 10 minutes with young Deontay could like unlock him.
Yeah. The guy got to understand what the University of Alabama means. What's the history behind it?
But
And
you got
That's our job, Bo. We got to help them with that.
But you got to understand something too, though.
That's what I'm agreeing with you on, saying that we got to tell them the history behind it and what it all means and why people care so much. Because of now, like I said earlier, we got kids that coming out of the portal that doesn't know.
That was at San Jose State last year.
But
right. I know that you come to the South, this is a whole different ball game out there now. The
but
South
you know what
is
it
like,
is, though?
you know what I'm saying? The South is like the NFL in college, We will bring you back home.
But here's one point that I think that has been overlooked, and I just thought about that. When we look at what we played, when thinking about what you just said versus the guys who played under Saban, I think a lot was lost in terms of dealing with certain situations because they were so used to playing with the best of the best on their team, and they went out and physically dominated pretty much everyone they played. When we played, the talent was more widespread. You got to realize Florida had just won a championship in '96, and then they won. Tennessee won it in '98. So we were playing teams.
You talking about my class?
No, I'm just saying
Marvin's class, man.
Yeah, I'm saying my era, we had the talent was more widespread, so we were playing real legitimate contenders week in and week out. When you all played, you had more talent on your team. So your group, you didn't play as good of opponents as we did. Because here, and I'm not saying that to be funny, because here's the thing: you can make that. Okay, when we played Tennessee in '99, they got Jamal Lewis and Travis Henry running the ball with Dante Stallworth in the defense that's all world. You look at Ole Miss, they had Deuce McAllister running the ball.
Joe Gunn.
When we played Florida, when they had the freak Javon Curse and Mike Peterson, Travis McGriff, like that was talent.
We played against
and don't forget Eli Manning.
I'm not saying you didn't play talent, but what I'm saying is the teams that we played were more talented than the teams that you all played. So our games were a bit tougher because we played teams with the equal amounts of talent as we had. Whereas you all were always talked about, well, we got this many 5-stars and 4-stars. Your rosters always look so much better than everyone you played. But that's just the reality of recruiting. So all I'm saying is a lot of times when you don't have that level of competition week in and week out, and a lot of times you don't think about what it takes to overcome it because you're just so used to winning.
Though, because everybody played us like it was a national championship.
Yeah, but what he's saying is that was your why, and that's how you guys overcame that. You guys looked within by saying, you know what, I got Derrick Henry behind me, and I'm ahead of him. Like we were looking towards Sam Shade coming back, Langham coming back, and telling us like this is what you have to do to get there. You guys already had enough players on your team to already encourage you to do that already within yourself.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we were just starting. We were the beginning that didn't finish the run that you guys did because we lacked discipline. Like we had players, but it was only a 2-year, 3-year class, like a 20-year class. And we didn't get to build on top of that just because we had a coaching change in the middle of our run. So we had good players, but we were knuckleheads, and we didn't have a true leader to say, hey, all of y'all are going in that direction. Like we lost our leadership when Big Sam, Cornelius, Mac 10 left. Like we're left with Kenny Smith. Great player, not a great leader.
But you had AC Carter to pray for you.
Right. So you guys just had a longer run. So we needed the older heads to come back and educate us on what to do and how to get through like simple little things. And when those guys came back and you saw 2-5 with the Lambeau, and you're like, man, I'm trying to get that. How do I get that? And he's going to say, hey, listen, when I was a freshman, I did this, smoke that, sophomore year, junior year, and you just built a bond with them, and they became de facto your mentor. So every year you say, man, I know Shade watching me. I can't do this because he told me I can do this good. I know Langham inspired me to win. Man, next time you see this out smoke, like, this is what it is. Like, A-Day game, I'm looking up in the stands like, oh, I know Big Bro on the sideline watching. If I play this certain way, he told me this is going to happen. And those guys took care of you. And you build that rapport. So now when we see each other, it's a big brother mentor. Like, those are my guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, that and you all you have to do is keep the machine rolling. Right. Whereas we were sitting here trying to draw out the damn blueprint on even how to build the machine. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. But here's the biggest difference.
Y'all were in a situation that was good. We was over here trying so what we need to do?
Go ahead, Justin.
I was gonna say the biggest difference. Y'all just talked about all those guys coming back: Sam Shays, Langham, Teague, and then Bo. The guys who came back and spoke to y'all. Y'all listened. Y'all heard what they had to say, and y'all considered it gospel, and then you implement it into every aspect of your play. I don't think it's so much the kids these days. I think the kids now are kind of tuning it out and saying, you know what, y'all are old school. Y'all, it doesn't apply to us anymore. Bo, you experienced that when you tried to talk to them one time. They weren't willing to hear all that, even though you, the guys who built it, and they're enjoying the infrastructure that they're in right now. They'll understand what it took to get to it brick by brick.
Right.
If we can return to essentially respecting the elders, maybe things can get a little bit better.
Yeah. That's where, like you said, Bo, earlier, not to get back, that's where the discipline comes in.
Exactly.
Hey, that's way of understanding. That's what we got to listen to. Go ahead, Marvin.
Whoever put Albert Means' name in the chat need their ass whoop. He fell on me in practice one time and re-entered my damn knee. Just being lazy and just gonna fall on the pile and fell. Maybe you get your ass up.
Hey, Mook, you know what? Word on the street that back in the day, Bama got shot the wrong film. That the player that we got was not the player that they wanted.
Nope.
Baby switch.
Close to the rules.
So, yeah. Listen, all season, we're going to do little things a little bit different. We're going to give you some information. We're going to have some fun. We're going to incorporate a little bit more storytelling. I think you guys really enjoy that. And I think the audience would like to hear more of that in the offseason. So we're going to turn the podium over to you guys. Relive a little bit about what y'all experienced, that camaraderie. Remind us what it was all about. What really built Bama was the relationships. So we're going to put those front and center during the offseason. But before we close up shop, I remind everyone the programming tonight in just about 25 minutes. We got the final whistle at 8 p.m. Tune in to see what they got to say. No Crimson Dynasty tomorrow night, no T-State tomorrow night, but going hard in the paint, the recap of Bama basketball Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Central. You don't want to miss that. And then we start things back up on Sunday night with Sunday Night Talking Bama at 7 p.m. Central with JT, JB, and Stephen M. Smith. And then we got the illustrious Smoke Dixon with Daniel Petty on the opening kick Monday night at 7 p.m. And we pick the ball up after them on Tuesday, and going to have some phenomenal guests next week. Some great content coming your way. Stay tuned during the off season. Before I turn it all off, everyone tell the folks how they can find you on social media. Start me out, Marvin, down to Bo, and then Smoke, you will finish it up, and then we'll get out of here.
All right, so you can follow me on Instagram, Constant45, Twitter, Constant451. When I tell you, boy, I've been in the lab, I've got back down to 3% body fat. I'm about to try to get to 2 at this point, at which point I'm probably going to go back to fitness modeling. So stay tuned. I got some photo shoots coming up. Life's about to get back to being fun, baby. Because if you've never seen a 45-year-old man at 1% body fat, you about to see it, baby.
When he says
and also, on a side note, play for Steve Brown. He on his way to his pediatrician right now to get them tonsils taken.
He always talking about his arm, but don't never show his leg.
You want to see my surgery scar? You want to see the abuse?
Stop, man. Put your
You want to
leg
see my
down.
surgery scar?
Hey, Marvin, why are you trying to
He
get
get top small at
1%
the
body
bottom.
fat?
You say, why am I trying to?
Yeah.
Well, I'm at 3, so what's the difference between 3 and 1? I mean, it don't
2.
make much of a difference at this point.
2. You didn't go to class at the time. 2. Difference is 2.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, but when you're that low, it's not much of a difference.
So let me give the audience just a little bit of backstory on Marvin. Like, Marvin's going to say everything that he got, like he worked for, but you need to thank your mom and dad for giving you great genetics.
Yeah.
So with all that said, while he's trying to steal attention from me and Bo, because we're not at 1% or whatever, we're not trying to starve ourselves, but nah. Shout out to you, man. Good job. You're an incredible athlete. You're an Adonis. You are Greek. Whatever chip mold that you come from, like all of us just want to get to it. Anyhow, man, listen, on IG, you can get me Smoke GV Dixon, and on X, you get me Coach GV Dixon. And look me up. Got some good content. Bo, man, listen. First and foremost, outstanding job. Good to have you back. I'm proud that you got that gig. You got that life back in. Your skin looks good. Your hair's on deck. Your body's all together, man. Your mind is sharp. You bring great knowledge to the audience. Keep it on up, man. I'm proud of you. Just being a big brother.
Appreciate that, Smoke. Appreciate that, Smoke. I really appreciate that.
You got an expiration date on the knees, though, so you might want to use them while you can.
He can't even let you get a little bit of shine, bro.
At all.
All because I called and asked him what his knee was sore. He was bringing the knee.
That ain't why. I just know when you have a history of knee surgeries like you do, as I do, and everybody else that I know, it just don't end well when you had a history of knee surgeries. It's just over time, it just comes, man. So when I say to
me
you,
on all social media, both Scarbrough, Twitter, X, and Facebook, both Scarbrough.
Both saying he ain't built like.
But and I was being serious when I said use it. I mean like
Steve.
leg curls, leg extensions, calf raises. Those 3 exercises will be your best friend because if you don't keep those muscles up, it'll deteriorate at a higher rate. Your knee will than it would if you didn't.
Right. All right, model. Good looking model, and everybody wants to be like you.
No, I'm telling you from experience when it comes to me. Listen, me and Dr. Kane have talked about this time and time. No. So you got to understand something. Like the microfracture procedure, Dr. Kane did a case study on me. I was the first athlete they did it on. So I learned so much about the body and how it operates, and that's one of the biggest things that I learned from that. If you're not doing leg extensions, leg curls, and calf raises when you have those knee problems, those muscles deteriorate, and as they deteriorate, you put more stress on the joint, which makes the joint wear out faster. That's why it prolonged it, because he gave me a 5 to 10 year window of life expectancy after they did the procedure on me. It lasted 21 years because of what was being done.
What about your triceps and your biceps? You do too many curls on them too?
Oh, that's just a byproduct of going to the gym, baby.
Both said you built like Johnny Bravo.
You know what, Justin? That's what I used to call him when I was a freshman, when he used to try to piss me off. I used to go, "Hey, Johnny Bravo!" Take off
Man,
he's trying to chase and beat me up. Just take off on him.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, that's going to do it for us. We went a little bit overtime, but I think the folks in the audience really appreciate it. That's what we do here. We're here to serve Bama Nation. But remember, we got more stuff coming. You're going to love it all. We'll see you next week. Roll Tide, everyone.
Roll Tide.
Keep up the weight room, Mook.